just kept getting worse and worse. And the U.S. kept capitalizing on either the mistakes or just the inability of Uruguay to really get into this match. And then even, I think, after the lifeline with kind of the errors to finish the first half, I thought, okay, there's going to be a halftime talk. There's going to be a response from Uruguay. But the attitude from the U.S. was great again. The subs came in, did their job. Then, obviously, the stupid red card from Betancourt. But a very, very good performance from the U.S.
Very, very good performances, Kasey. Would you say great?
Given the circumstances, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mauricio Pochettino makes 9 substitutions from the last game, and you're missing what many would say are prime players for this U.S. men's national team. You're asking where you're going to see some identity, and over the last few windows, you start seeing that identity. Not the players you thought you would see, but it doesn't matter who's on the field. There seems to be a way of going about things for the U.S. men's national team. Mauricio Pochettino, whoever is in, knows their role. These 9 substitutions, these 9 changes, it didn't look like 9 changes. Everybody was on the same page. Everybody was locked in, dialed in. And I could sit here and talk about how poor Uruguay was, but I feel like I would be doing a disservice to how good the U.S. men's national team was at taking advantage or putting them in bad situations. And then if you're in an important game, set pieces are going to be a factor. Capitalizing off of mistakes are going to be a factor. 1v1 is going to be a factor. And intensity. They had all of that in the first half. And then second half, there was a bit of a balance, a bit of a lull. Changes happened, and then they regained control. But overall, I thought it was a very good performance by the U.S. men's national team as a whole and Mauricio Pochettino. Because it would have been very easy for Mauricio Pochettino against his mentor, Marcelo Bielsa, to go all in. And yet he didn't feel the need to go all in. He's still looking at these players, something I don't really agree with, but it worked out for him. And thus far, he's been pressing the right buttons.
Far and away, and I mean far and away, the best performance that we have seen from this national team under Mauricio Pochettino. Far and away. There is not even a point of discussion here. The United States today, and dare I say it, were fun to watch.
Oh.
They were fun to watch. They were entertaining to watch. And if you wanted an image of what this window was like for the United States and what this game in particular was like for the United States, it's the third goal. The second goal by Alex Freeman, but the third goal in the match, in which you get a sliding challenge from Tillman, regains possession of the ball, trusted in an advanced position. He's already playing the ball through, and then Freeman.
Yeah.
Daddy,
saw that coming.
Daddy, where did that come from? The footwork in a tight area, in a tight space, and you're seeing it and you're going, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, they got this. I didn't know they had this in their game. They haven't shown it. And it's not like we have seen this sort of performance coming against a team of the caliber of Uruguay, allegedly. Uruguay.
Uruguay.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yes.
As it pertains to the United States, a lot of things today that are positive and a lot of things that you build on. But I think more importantly than anything is that you watch that third goal by Alex Freeman and it's the intensity. It encapsulates the intensity that you were talking about. It encapsulates the willingness to press the ball higher up the field, which means that you're not intimidated by the team. You're not just absorbing pressure. You're willing to get your lines further forward. Then the first pass by Trusty, once that ball was won, let's play the ball forward. Yeah. Not recirculate the ball. Not let's pass the ball backwards. No.
Or be so scared, Ali, that I need to keep possession.
Yes, that you're looking forward for a penetrating pass, and then that a run is being made forward, and then usually a player who's more of a defensive role, like Freeman, is doing those things inside the 18-yard box, and you go, USA, baby! We're going to win this thing! We're going to win this thing!
Freeman, who was playing as a center back today, found himself in a position to attack, to advance, to go 1v1. Now, we can sit here and say, well, Ronald Araujo, that just proves how the moment of Rano Araujo, but he put him in a position, a compromising position, and I thought it was a very good performance.
The fact that it looked like the USA unlocked another level that we didn't expect from this US team. And what does it say, Kasey, to you, considering that this level that we have seen, the fact that Alejandro Moreno was impressed, he was entertained, he was having fun watching this game, which is, I was shooketh. But what does it say to you that it has come from this 11?
Well, I think also, I think we got to go back to the last couple camps where we started to see things improve. And we got to talk about positives instead of, where's the bite? Where's the intensity? Where's the will? Well, the will's there. And it's now, seems like, the culture that Ali likes to talk about has...
Wait. That I like to talk about? No. That Pochettino likes to talk about endlessly.
Well, everybody's on the same page now. And when you're finally on the same page... I agree with Herc. I don't agree with making 9 changes because you don't expect the fluidity, that everybody is still on the same page after 9 changes. But it worked, and it worked really, really well. And we're starting to see now a team and some players who understand the gravity of hosting a World Cup. And they really, really want to be a part of it. And when they get their chance, they're really looking to take it.
And look, I'm not saying that, these guys are under threat, Herc, but the fact that they've done this, no Weston McKennie, no Christian Pulisic, no Chris Richards, Gio Reyna, we saw exactly how he can pick up where he usually leaves off when he comes back
Anthony
as well.
Robinson.
No Balogun, no Anthony Robinson. Not saying that their positions are under threat, but how much more does this give Mauricio Pochettino now to think about when he's choosing his roster?
It'll give them a lot to think about, absolutely. And I don't want to take anything away from these players or the players who have played as of late, who have probably played the most minutes with Mauricio Pochettino. But we look at this, 5 games now for Mauricio Pochettino, in which the U.S. men's national team has done very well. It's against World Cup competition. Great. It's not the World Cup competition that's going to show up at the World Cup.
Correct.
A lot of these teams are alternate squads.
So you're saying take it with a grain of salt?
I do want to stress a bit of caution here. Okay. Doesn't matter who you play, who's in front of you, you play them to win. But as you are evaluating players and you don't have all your players, they don't have all their players. So while it's good that they found an identity, a culture, while they find meaning and purpose in their play, I still ask myself what this team is going to look like come World Cup time. I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to that lineup. I don't think it's going to be close to what we've seen as of late. So you've got maybe all of them to buy in. What's it going to look like when Christian Pulisic's on the field, with Giovanni Reyna, with Farlan Balogun, with Anthony Robinson if he ever gets healthy, with Chris Richards, with Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie.
Yeah.
There are some real questions here. But as far as
Malik Tillman as well.
But as far as what he has to work with and what he's done in the last 5 games, it's an incredible improvement. And I don't know if because the bar was so low, but you have seen that identity. You have seen that purpose in their play.
Alice, should we take it with a grain of salt, these results?
Look, the United States just beat Uruguay 5-1. Okay? Take it and run with it.
Not
and enjoy it.
What? Usually you're a level-headed one.
And enjoy it.
He called Alex Freeman daddy.
Run with it.
He called Alex Freeman daddy. Woo.
Daddy, I didn't know he had that in his
but he got the cultura in the legs.
Yeah, he do.
He's got a lot of cultura. Look, the part of the narrative for Mauricio Pochettino in this window, and he's stated this time and time again, not only this window, but in windows before as well, is saying, well, nobody has a spot safe here. Nobody's guaranteed a spot in the World Cup. Well, Christian Pulisic is, but okay.
Right.
Nobody has
Nobody else.
Okay. Well, he may not be starting the first game of the World Cup, but I think he'll be in the squad.
Yeah.
He's been one of those players that over the last few matches continues to get opportunities under Mauricio Pochettino and does a good job. And today, obviously, the goals, and this is his second goal in particular, was great. And that in itself, I think, in some ways makes a very clear impression. I look at Alex Freeman as a guy that Mauricio Pochettino trusts more than he does others. And even though he may not have the experience, this is when Pochettino looks at it and says, I don't care about other people's judgments. I don't care about their lack of experience. I care about what I see. And what I've seen from this guy when I've given him opportunities is positive performances. And so Alex Freeman has done himself a favor tonight in particular. But I would argue that he's done himself a favor in previous matches as well. And that he's been building up to this moment where he then scores 2 goals in this, again, historic result against Uruguay. And you go, all right, if you're putting a list together, which I'm sure Pochettino is, along with his staff, is going, who gets on that bus, who gets on that plane? Alex Freeman is on it. Now, whether he's starting or not, that's a different conversation, but I think he's made a very strong case for himself.
Yeah, just thinking of Alex Freeman on a set piece, it makes me think of how good the U.S. men's national team has all of a sudden gotten on set pieces. You have people who can now serve a very good ball, and you've got a lot of size, you've got a lot of presence in that box, and you've got a lot of goal scorers who on a set piece can be the difference.
Well, what did we talk about?
Sorry, I was just going to say on the set pieces, I don't know what the role of Sebastian Berhalter could be in this team.
I think it's apparently yes.
But when you see him take a corner kick, and you see him taking a free kick, and you see him in set pieces, and you see the quality of service, and you're sort of kind of 50-50, 60-40 on what the selection process is going to be, you go, hey, give me this guy. Because he can have an impact. And how do you have an impact when you're a good, in this case, free kick taker or corner kick taker, a set piece taker? You can have a huge impact in a World Cup. How many of the World Cup games are decided on a set piece, especially for the United States? And so a guy like Sebastian Berhalter, because of those qualities, may just find himself with an opportunity. And that's when I say those guys that aren't here, for whatever the reasons may be, they're not taking set pieces. They're not scoring goals. They're not winning these games in the manner in which they did. And these guys are. And for a manager, you need to see it. You need to see it. And he saw something special today from his team.
All right, I zoned out for a second there because I heard there was a goal in the Jamaica-Curacao game, but it was ruled offside. I'm not going to lie, I nearly passed out right now. But anyways, we move on. And we want to talk about Mauricio Pochettino.
It was a goal for whom?
I think it was for Curacao. The producer told me, do not check your phone. And of course I was going to check my phone. Anyways, like I said, hanging by a thread over here, but I am the professional. So let's talk about Mauricio Pochettino, shall we, Kasey? Because for the last couple of games, or ever since he came into the USA's managerial position, we have pretty much been nitpicking at his tactics, at his in-game management, at his press conferences. Now looking at this window, what did you make of
Alexis, what we were basically nitpicking is there was no results. You know, you can do a lot of things, you can say a lot of things, but in the end, whatever you say has to be implemented on the pitch, and then when it's implemented on the pitch, the results come. And it wasn't happening. We weren't seeing the strengths that we've seen from the U.S. over the years, and then we also haven't seen, you know, some style of play from players that are now playing at big clubs, and it's supposed to be this now, you know, let's play out the back and let's do this and that. So where I will give Mauricio Pochettino a ton of credit now is we're not talking about that anymore.
Yeah.
That's turned a page. He now has a group of players who are fighting for the shirt, fighting for their positions on the team, fighting to get results. And through that, the results have come. And that's where, so if Ali got him to change the culture, and the culture's been changed.
Yeah.
And I don't think now we're going to have another conversation of, do these guys want to be here? Well, do they look like they want to fight to be in a World Cup squad? Because I think we've completely turned the page on that. And that I'll give Pochettino credit.
But I think it's important that he himself moves past that.
Correct.
Yeah.
That he's not talking about it, because he is the one that continues to bring it up. And so now that you're seeing it, then all right.
We got there. We did it.
We've achieved that. We turn the page and we move on to the next thing. And unless you see signs that the team is regressing in that aspect, you don't have to continue to bring it up and continue to bang that drum. Because it sounds to me, or at least he's in danger of sounding like, see, I told you.
Oh, very much so.
I had the answers all along.
We're the professionals.
Yeah, see, I told you.
Yeah.
See, I brought this. Now the players buy into it. And so here we are. Now that's why we're getting results. I think it would be important for him to say, okay, this is a message that now has been understood by these players. Let's move on to the next step.
Yep.
It's just, we are judging him by his own words.
Yes.
He wants a footballing culture like Argentina. Well, there's a lot of things that come with that footballing culture like Argentina. When you get paid $6 million a year, when you are now one of the highest paid international managers, there is a certain expectation that comes with that job. And when you're not delivering on the field, and when the news is off the field with the best player on your team, when in the first windows you're sending this player, instead of going to play against Mexico in Guadalajara, a big rivalry game, you're sending him with his club and you're saying that's not important. And then when he decides not to show up in the summer for a Gold Cup, that's a secondary tournament to the U.S. men's national team for 9 of the last 11 tournaments, you say, no, now it's important. Well, there are a lot of things that he paints himself into a corner with that we need to hold him accountable for. Now it's starting to resonate on the field. But those are his words that we are judging him by. So Mauricio Pochettino right now, and I agree with Ali wholeheartedly, if he wants to stop with this narrative, it starts with him. I'm sure U.S. men's national team fans don't want to hear about the next Premier League job that he's hoping to get at every chance he gets.
So there's the other thing we kept hearing about as well.
Well, speaking of Mauricio Pochettino, let's hear from him. This is what he had to say on match day -1.
We were not playing official games because we were already qualified in the last year that we took in charge. I think was about to bring player and to play for everyone friendly games, but not for us. The problem was that we take 1 year maybe or 7-8 months to convince the player, the federation, the fans, the media, the staff, that for us cannot be friendly games. Because if I said to you that you are playing in Manchester United, come to play a friendly game, if you are Manchester United coach or fans, you say, Pochettino is taking a risk with you because he is playing too much game. Why he make play, how is your name? Felipe, why play Felipe? He's taking a risk. If something happen, and bad luck, you suffer some problem. And then, Pochettino have no clue why we take a risk with a player that need to be ready for the World Cup, if that are friendly game. How we evolve, how we develop, how we are to perform and to prepare our journey when we arrive to the World Cup. And that is the problem. Yeah, but it was about to convince, because play the World Cup is not important. No, it's important. No, it's not important. No, it's important. But the problem was the mindset that we already changed here. And until there, how you are going to perform? If you come here and you want holidays, if you come here and say, no, I don't want to put the legs, because if I get injured and then I not play in my team. Yeah, but how now we are going to win games? How we are going to convince the people to support us? How we are going to improve in our game? How we are going to put our standard high? That is the problem. Question that were in the past. We need to analyze, the reality, not the things that are bullshit. Things that are reality. And then, okay, we can talk in this way. But come on, it's about to trust, it's a confidence. When we arrive here, we are not amateur. And all the coaches like Costa Rica, like Mexico, that they were suffering, how they were suffering, they are professional. Why don't work? Why doesn't work? Because of the coach out. But sometimes it's not the coach. Okay, but it's the easy thing is to blame the coach. No, the coach. Hey, what is going on behind the scene? No? Mike?
All right, so a lot to take in there from Mauricio Pochettino. Potty mouth, but it's okay. Kasey, what stood out to you from what he had to say?
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit the other day from this interview, and it was just basically that, I think now with the results that have come, it is time to stop talking, like Herc said, about some of that. But I think also there's still contradictions. You know, I'm not going to take him to Mexico because I want him to go back with his club team, but then, well, they better come in here and play. If they don't come in and play, then how can they be a part of that? So, look, I would like Mauricio just to be like, now, hey, guess what? We figured it out.
Yeah.
We're now playing. We're competitive in every match. Guys are coming in here with the right attitude. You saw it today with a historic performance, like Ali said. And now this is the standard. You all know it. If you let it drop, I've got people that have proven that they can play to this standard.
Herc.
It's just a walking contradiction. He talks about you're not here on holiday. You come here, you put your foot in the tackles. These aren't friendly games. These mean something. They're preparing for something. You're allowing players to stay home. Apparently, Christian Pulisic's too injured to be here on this U.S. men's national team. He played in AC Milan's friendly, 90 minutes. Chris Richards, he was too tired. Played with Crystal Palace, 90 minutes. Malik Tillman couldn't be fit enough. Played 45 minutes. Alejandro Sendejas, the same thing, 45 minutes. Johnny Cardoso, sure he didn't play, but that's a tactical reason, not a health issue. We can go down the line. The amount of times he's contradicted himself, and I agree with Ali wholeheartedly. He's the first one to kind of take that shot. Let it go. Move on.
I think I have to believe that some of this has to do with things just getting lost in translation and the fact that he's unable to communicate what he's thinking in Spanish and give it the same tone in English.
Yeah.
The message of Mauricio Pochettino in that particular press conference is not wrong. It's just how the way that he packages the messaging and also the length of the message. If he had just kept it to the first part, and just focus on the fact that you've created this culture and this mindset in which you know that playing these games for the United States in preparation for the World Cup are not friendly matches, and you need everybody committed to that and understanding that these are competitive moments, and to him, to deem the games not only as preparation, but to be important for the players. You just package that the way that I just said it, and there's nobody that can sit back and say, well, there's something wrong with that. No, you're essentially, as the national team coach, you're making the national team the priority, and you're asking your players to do the same. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, but he didn't say that. It's just the way he, and because he gets lost in the way that he's trying to say it in English, then somehow he doesn't find a way out and connects it to the pressure on coaches and how coaches get blamed. And those are two different conversations altogether. And that's where I think he gets in trouble. If I were advising Mauricio Pochettino and I were part of the PR department of the United States, which I know they have. I have dealt with these people in the past. Okay, I would tell him, Mauricio, less is more.
Yeah.
Less is more. Don't try to get cute. Don't try to explain too much. Just answer the specific question. Don't go into cul-de-sacs because your English is not good enough to get yourself out of those cul-de-sacs.
Your theory is not entirely wrong. I've seen press conferences.
That felt like a backhand.
No, it's not. I'm with you because I've had the same theory, and I've seen his press conference where Anglo reporters who don't speak Spanish as a second language will attempt answers directly. And he does the same thing in Spanish, Ali. He will do the same thing in Spanish.
Hey, I was trying to give the guy English as a second language. I'm just saying it's not easy. I took the classes. I think, honestly, I would have a conversation with him. I said, well, there's no need to engage in all of this.
Right.
No need to engage in all of this. Less is more. Don't get caught up in trying to explain every situation because that's not your job.
When I was in Madrid, I gave a 30-second response to a yes/no question. So I understand sometimes when something gets lost in translation a little bit. But
it took you a long time to say no.
Yeah, that was a lot of going around the cul-de-sac. Yeah. I made a couple laps around it.
Cul-de-sac. Never thought Ali would bring that in.
Oh, well, you know, I'm resourceful like that. ESL, English as a second language.
English as a second language. He did it, baby. Well, speaking of Mauricio Pochettino, as you said, we love to listen to his words, and we're going to have more of them later on in the show. Well, we love to try to decipher it, especially now that Ale is like the Pochettino whisperer.
Oh, wow.
Ale is the Pochettino whisperer. All right, well, make sure to check out our other show, ESPN FC. It is on every day of the week. I'll be back hosting tomorrow alongside Ale Moreno, the Pochettino. All right, let's talk more about the U.S. men's national team. Stock up and stock down. We want to know whose stock has soared in this international window and who's, well, kind of crashed, I suppose. Kasey, we're going to start with you. Tell me your stock up first.
Well, I think there's several stock ups. I mean, when you win 2 matches against good competition, a lot of player stocks are going to go up. And Gio Reyna, who'd been in the wilderness, came in, got a great goal, a couple assists in 2 games, clearly showed the quality. Sebastian Berhalter shows that there's a piece to his game that could make it difficult to leave him off the squad. Freeman as well showed him that, as Ali said, when he's been asked, he's shown up. You know, a couple great goals, showed he can score on a set piece as well. I still have some questions with Matt Freese. I'm still wondering, are we going to see a performance that gives us the confidence? Because clearly Pochettino sees it, and I guess I'm just waiting to see it as well.
All right, Herc, what about you? Your stock up.
Listen, Giovanni Reyna is an easy stock up, and I agree with Giovanni Reyna, but I'm going to go Major League Soccer.
Just overall as an entity.
There are a lot of players who play in Major League Soccer.
You want to do? You want to do?
Looking for a job.
Wait a minute. You want to do appearances in MLS Cup or what?
No. Listen to me. And I've been very critical of some of these players. I've been very critical of their call-ups. But over the last few windows, and especially this window, we look at Max Arpston and how he continues to improve, and he's an asset in the final third. You look at the emergence of Christian Roldan. You look at the set piece of Sebastian Berhalter. You look at Alex Freeman and what he's doing. There is a serious shout for how important these players that Mauricio Pochettino has empowered have been this last window. They're all under the same umbrella. They get put into the same category, and sometimes unfairly, and I've been at fault at that as well. I raised my hand. But they played well this window. So I would say MLS.
Right.
Okay.
That's
what's your
cute.
stock? Wait,
No, wait a minute.
what's your stock down?
That's
Oh, do I gotta go stock down now too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going stock down or no?
Go ahead.
But Ale, you go in first.
All I was gonna say is, this is coming from the same guy who last week, when I was in Futbol Americas, was having to go on MLS because of with the playoff structure. So,
come on,
No. Don, where's Don? Don Garber. Listen.
Get out of here.
No. Don't buy into those 2 minutes that he just spent trying to talk up MLS. He spends most of his time criticizing MLS.
I'm doubling down on MLS Cup playoffs. That's terrible structure. Terrible.
And obviously they've recognized it too, and they're going to change the whole structure in 2 years.
It seems like stuck up, stuck down. It's like MLS. Hey, MLS. Hey. So my appearance is my way, MLS.
All right, now you're stock up.
Go give me your stock down.
Do I go stock down here?
Yes.
All right. Honestly, I found it very difficult to do stock down in this window because we're nitpicking at 1, maybe 2 mistakes. The Joe Scally mistake in the first game where he
I
gets
think that was
out of position.
He wasn't out of position. He's a center back.
He's a third center back there, and between him and Serginho Dest, there was a miscommunication, gets played over the top. But that's what I'm saying. I'm nitpicking here.
Yeah.
And then it's today, Matt Freese. And I think you've covered it very well on Matt Freese. Ali, you know what it's like to play sometimes and the goalkeeper's not sure. I think right now, Mauricio Pochettino knows that's his man. I don't know if the rest of the U.S. men's national team know that's their man. And to me, that's worrisome.
That is worrisome.
Oh. Do I go stock up? Is that?
Yes,
I don't
you're
know.
allowed to go stock up.
All right. Okay.
I'm hanging on because Jamaica are down to 10 men.
Okay. But still times 0-0?
Oh, yeah. No, there's going to be a meltdown on this show very shortly. I might throw
Wouldn't
my
be the first.
Stock up Curaçao.
Stock down Jamaica. All right.
Eloy Room is our guy. Yeah.
Bring these down. Sorry.
Wait a minute. So stock up. I think outside of Christian Pulisic, in my estimation, the player who has the most upside to make an impact for this team in the attacking half and the creativity aspect of this team is Gio Reyna. Think if he had not had a good window and these opportunities that he had against Paraguay and then coming off the bench against Uruguay, if he had been poor, if he hadn't played well, if he hadn't done the things that he did and show how much of a difference maker he can be and how much of a different player he is as compared to everybody else in the context of the United States men's national team. If he had not done the things that he did in this window, there is an argument to be made that he's not playing at Gladbach, he's not doing what he's supposed to do with the national team. Then if you're Mauricio Pochettino, based on the evidence that you have in front of you, you go, I don't know that this guy is actually on board with what we want or what we need. So for him, it was critically important that he had a good window, and he had an excellent window. Gio Reyna stuck way up, certainly in the context of where he was coming into this window.
Are you going to call him daddy?
I know that's reserved for Alex Freeman. You know, I may call Gio Papi, but yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's good. I think he deserves a little poppy after the last.
He gets a little Papi.
100%.
His Papi was good too. I'm gonna say.
More goals now.
As it pertains to stock down, while I agree with the Matt Freese conversation, and I think that's an obvious one, I'm going to say, not just because of his performances, but also because of the performances of those that played ahead of him, stock down, I'm going to go with a little Ricardo Pepi.
Oh, because he missed that chance that he had?
Well, yes, and not only that, that in itself says something, but I'm also going to say, Balogun seems to have separated himself from the rest in terms of who plays a number 9 position. Haji Wright, I think, and we were discussing it while we were watching the game, he's a handful, and when he stays in a central position, he's difficult to deal with him.
He also gives you a different aspect.
Yes,
right?
And different profile.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so then Ricardo Pepi, you kind of go, well, he gets a chance, misses that opportunity, and then doesn't play, and you're like, while his performances were certainly not great, the performances of others have elevated them ahead of Ricardo Pepi. So you put that combination, if you're here and these guys are moving, your stock is going down while everybody else is rising. What happened? What's the matter? You're looking.
Sorry, we have just been awarded a penalty, but they're checking it. So, how many more shot sheets can I throw? But no, we need those things. But actually, it's interesting, just because we were talking about Haji Wright, of course, off camera as well, and just while we're raising everyone's stocks too, has he raised his stock as well? Because
absolutely,
we're speaking about those at the front and cementing who is the big linchpin for the U.S.
I don't see Haji Wright as a starter, but I see him as a guy that when maybe you're down 1-0 and you know you need to play direct and a team maybe is going to sit in a little bit with an extra defender. I mean, there's a profile that you want a guy in there to put a shoulder on somebody and flick a ball on and do some stuff. So absolutely. And I give Haji definitely stock up.
I do see Haji as a starter.
Okay.
In the same way we saw him start last World Cup. He was starting against England in probably their best game when they played against England. And then he came off the bench against the Netherlands and ended up scoring a goal. I don't think we're going to see a situation where there's 1-9 who plays plus 3 games, starts plus 3 games. I do think Mauricio Pochettino is going to evaluate those type of situations. And was he clean today? Not his cleanest, but there was a lot of fight in his game. There's a lot of occupying defenders. There's a lot of that dirty work that sometimes a 9 has to do. He provides that. And when you're a team that's probably going to be on the back foot for the majority of the games you play, you're going to need somebody like that. Yep.
I know we have to move on, but I'm just going to let Ali in on this because this is your area of the pitch, and you do love some dirty work.
Oh.
As a number 9. As a number 9.
I actually think that the Haji Wright could do an even better job of the hold-up play, given his size. Okay. And I think that would make him an even more valuable piece. An even more valuable piece for Mauricio Pochettino. I think he has this tendency of starting drifting towards the left-hand side instead of staying in between the two center backs and actually playing with his back to goal, which I think he can do when he chooses to do so. But he starts drifting down the left, and if he does that with the national team, this team loses structure because now you don't have the into-out runs that Balogun can give you. You don't have the hold-up play that potentially Haji Wright could give you in between two center backs. And so you're kind of going, all right, well, what are we trying to do? So I would suggest that Haji Wright, while I think his stock went up in this window and Pepe's went down, I think he could do more for this team than what he actually does. I see more potential for him. But having said all of that, in this conversation, Balogun is in a category of his own, and then it's everybody else.
All right, well, the USA has taken care of business very impressively in this international window, but club football is back at the weekend, and so is La Liga on ESPN. Barcelona up against Athletic Club de Bilbao. They will be back at the Camp Nou for the first time in ages, Saturday, 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. They even start us.
Must on the roster. I don't think anybody's a must on the roster besides a Christian Pulisic, but I think they both probably make the roster, and I would not be surprised if one, if not both, start a game at the World Cup. They've grown immensely since January camp that we've seen them, and Max Arston, I repeat, he is not a good defensive back, but a wing back, if you're needing to press, unlock a defense, he's a very good 1v1 player. You see him primarily on the left, but when he was on the right, he provided Giovanni Reina a very good service with his right foot. I mean, little step over, creates separation, sends the ball in, boom. That type of player is going to be vital, so I could definitely see both of them getting a game.
There's such maturity now with your gray hairs on your beard.
I know, I've just noticed you got a couple more gray hairs. I tell you what's going to give me gray hair.
Quite maturity.
I tell you what's going to give me gray hair.
What?
I tell you what's going to give me gray hair. We move on. Next question's for Kasey. Kasey, it honestly feels like Freeze hasn't been tested much in games, and then he has the play at the end of the half when he's called to make a play and doesn't convert. Should Mauricio Pochettino try another goalkeeper too? How confident are you in Freeze?
I'm not confident. Simple as that. I mean, but only because he hasn't given me a reason to be confident.
Okay.
You know, and there's we talked about it a little bit in the show, but there's two things to goalkeeping, and there's certain goalkeepers that struggled when they went to a big club because they only have one or two actions a game because their team is dominating, where they need to be involved in a bunch of different things, which maybe at a big club you're not all the time. And I kind of saw him in these last two matches chasing things, thinking, oh, I want to help the team and I don't have much to do. And then he puts himself in a poor position. And a lot of that is just lack of experience in those really pressure situations. And Herc mentioned it. I believe him that Pochettino's playing him to try to gain him experience, but you're not gaining the experience he needs in a friendly. You need that experience of a World Cup qualifier in a crazy Honduras or Saprissa in Costa Rica where they're throwing stuff at you. There's guys with machine guns all around the pitch.
Okay.
There's
Memories.
yeah, I mean, and fans, you know, at maybe club level are going ballistic if you have a poor performance, and he just hasn't been. He just doesn't have the experience of that. So I don't know if he's going to gain it in just the odd friendly.
I'm no goalkeeper. I'm not a goalkeeper expert, so I leave that to Kasey. But what I can tell you, the eye test with Matt Freese, the eye test, from my perspective, he hasn't quite passed that just yet.
Okay.
It doesn't look right now as what you would consider to be a number one goalkeeper going into the World Cup. That maybe that develops in time for the World Cup, but where we are right now, he's just not quite there. The way I see it, he's a solid goalkeeper, but I think in the World Cup you need a great goalkeeper.
Can I just play devil's advocate for a second?
Okay,
Sure, go
why
ahead.
not?
With that beer,
Ooh.
why not?
Who is that great goalkeeper?
Well,
But that's a different conversation. Different conversation.
And I think
Different conversation.
I know.
and I think that's Mauricio Pochettino's saying that we don't have it. This is the guy most believe in, so let's ride him.
all right.
Fair. Next question's for Ale. Ale, if you could put any player from the national team from the last 20 years on this current U.S. team, who would you put and why?
I already
Tim
know you're gonna
Howard, Josie Altidore up top?
Well, Tim Howard seems like an obvious.
Considering what we were just talking about.
If you expanded a couple more years, maybe I put Kasey Keller. You know, maybe I throw a little Kasey there. I'm gonna say, if it's not those that are offered there, I'm gonna say Brian McBride.
Oh, Brian.
Well, I got a question real quick about his math.
Okay, go
Because
ahead.
I played in 2006.
You were still around.
It's 2025.
Yeah.
I made it by 1 year, Ali. I made it by 1 year.
You know,
I'm not that old.
I played Copa America with you, 2007.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, those were not the best years.
Let me bring my man of the match World Cup against Italy. Right there. So
You know what?
on
You know what?
for you?
Forget it. Tim in.
Bring Tim Howard in.
I would say Brian McBride.
Brian McBride.
Yes. Hold up play in the attack.
All right.
It's important for this team, or would be important for this team.
Next question. Does the USSF's experience show that if you hire a coach with no knowledge of the U.S. player pool, they'll basically need a full World Cup cycle to figure it out? We're almost 2 years in and only now seeing real results.
It would definitely help. There's no question that the more time you have, if you don't have a more kind of intricate knowledge of the player base, but I don't think you need all that time. I would have loved to have seen these results that we're seeing now start to show up maybe in the summer and not kind of give the panic stations that it did to wait a little bit longer. And in the end, the only results that matter are in the World Cup. So, but yes, I think it could have eased a few nerves if it had started a little earlier.
You don't need a full cycle, but it would help if you weren't just playing friendlies. You're already qualified,
Right,
so the
right.
games you are playing aren't high-quality games. You don't, and even if you don't play against high-quality opponents, you can play against them in difficult settings in a World Cup qualification process. You don't have that right now, so it's very difficult for Mauricio Pochettino to kind of gauge who he can count on early on. And that's why it's taken so long.
All right, and final question now. Is culture finally eating
There you go. That's
for breakfast, Ale?
I think culture and strategy and all of that, all of it is needed. All of it is necessary. You can have all the fight and all the attitude in the world, but if you don't have the proper tactics or the proper setup on the field or the talent level that is necessary, again, you can have all the fight and all the culture and all the will to do things in order to achieve what you think this team should be achieving. But you also need the quality and tactical decisions and technical decisions and delivery of set pieces and finishing chances. You need all of it.
But
one thing is not more important than the other.
But it has to start.
Well, yes.
You have to start with the fight and the desire and the wanting to play. Then you let everything come down. And yeah, don't get me wrong. We got results back in the day with just the fight. Now we're expecting the team to be able to show a little bit more, but what we didn't see was the fight, and because they didn't have the fight, you couldn't see the rest. Now that the fight has emerged, now we can start to see some of the quality and the rest.
Lost in translation with Pochettino. I understand the message, but when he said this, he made it sound as if none of this is important. The only thing that matters is culture. And the point that I'm trying to make is you can have it, which they do, seemingly now, and I'm sure that he's going to let it go, right? Right?
Timer set.
Okay. So he has that culture. Then you also need all the stuff, because if you don't have all of it, the whole package, you're not going to get the results.
Yeah, but I think that you say about that there's no normal players or something.
Saying,
no.
yeah, that to your point, that the idea of like the regulars.
The regular.
Doesn't-
Who are the regular players?
No, I'm saying that there is none. Is what you're saying.
My question is maybe I think we need to stop the press conference and I need to go to the dressing room, come back and start again the press conference because it's like we were the opposite, losing 5-0, no 5-1, no.
No, I'm
I
saying.
am the USA coach, no the another.
Right. No, I'm saying
No,
that
but the
it shows that
tell me which regular player you are talking about, because I don't understand what means regular player.
More experienced players.
Which,
More, right? Like,
okay.
yeah.
To be honest, maybe I am tired and I don't understand the English now, or your English question, because to be honest, very disappointed in the first two questions, because I don't know what do you expect, what I'm going to say when you say no natural player playing today or the another day or in the Gold Cup or I don't know when. Very sad situation. Keep going.
On the first goal, Sebastian plays it short to Serginho. So in a situation like that, do the players have the freedom of thought to come up with that, or is that something that you work on as a set
No, we
play,
didn't work.
or-
All was coincidence.
Ooh, that would not
was
be the body
fantastic.
language you think of a man who just got an historic win over Uruguay.
And I think that was his point.
That's his point. Yeah, obviously very disappointed in the first two questions he said. Didn't quite get the whole regular player thing. Should we go with the Pochettino whisper first, Ale? What should we make?
Well, I think he's expecting to come into
A jubilant
press conference, and those that are asking the questions, in particular the first couple, would talk about how good the team was and why was the team so good and what was so good about this performance. Instead, the question was about the guys that are not here. And if indeed, because we didn't hear the question, but if indeed that was the line of questioning, I would have had a similar reaction to Mauricio Pochettino. Let's talk about the guys that just played. Let's talk about the guys that are here. And this is what I said earlier in the show, that this sort of performance for these players empowers Pochettino and empowers his rhetoric and his narrative that these guys did this to Uruguay. Huh? They kicked the backside of Uruguay. And I mean all over the field. They humiliated and destroyed Uruguay and potentially, possibly, may have pushed out Marcelo Bielsa out of the job. And we're talking about those guys that are not here, the quote-unquote regulars. And his point all along has been, there are no regulars in this team. There are no more experience in this team. Just because you have a big name or you play for a big team doesn't mean that you're going to be a starter for this group. And it's the point that he's been trying to make all along. And I think all of that came to a boiling point in the press conference when the first question is about the guys that are not here instead of the players who just had this sort of performance.
Ali, I think the reporter Paul Tenorio, if that's the voice I recognize, is essentially saying what you're saying. Like, this is a message for what are supposed to be the regular players, that these guys are doing it. And I think Mauricio Pochettino is just not trying to have it. He's trying to make sure that people realize there are no regulars. There are no starters. And I think he says that when he's like, look at the Gold Cup. Look at the summer. And that's why early on the show I said, if we look at stock of who's played the most minutes on Mauricio Pochettino, you're going to find that maybe some of these guys like the Weston McKennies, the Giovanni Reynas, the Christian Pulisic's, the Yunus Musas, what people are accustomed to seeing as regular players, weren't part of those plans. So here, I don't think he should have been as combative as he was, and maybe misunderstood what
Again,
Paul Tenorio was.
I believe that this is lost in translation,
Yes.
the tone of
Yes.
the conversation,
Yes.
the tone of
I
the
agree
question.
here.
I don't think he really fully understood
I agree.
what he was.
I agree.
What the question
but
was.
the last question, I mean, do you work on these type of things?
Sometimes,
teams work on
sometimes
tactics.
not,
Teams work on this type of thing.
But it
you
also
know?
reminded me of a little bit sometimes when you go to interview a player who just had a really good game. Oh, he had a really good game. But what's it like playing with Messi?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, can you then ask Messi? Or, how about we just, focus on, and I think like you said, he wanted to say, great performance, great this, and look at that challenge that led to this, and then look at Freeman, and then look at the service from Sebastian, and how difficult are decisions going to be now because you've got these players all bought in, and it's like, yeah, like point. Well, how's that going to work with the guys that aren't here? Well, I don't care about them. Particularly the ones that kind of spoke to their club and said, hey, maybe I shouldn't come in for these games.
I would also say, and touch upon something that we discussed earlier as well, less is more, Mauricio.
Yeah.
You don't have to go into this whole like fixing your hair like
Conversation, press conference over.
Hey, I'm not the coach of the USA. I'm not the coach of the other team. You don't have to go through all of that. See, none of that gets you anywhere. Because I don't think he's able to make the point that he wants to make.
Right.
And what we focus on is the reaction and being combative and being annoyed by a question. Look, answer the questions that you're going to have for the next half hour. Less is more, very direct, very short with your answers, and then go celebrate with your team.
Because if not, you're bearing the lead. The lead is you just had a 5-1 victory over Uruguay.
I cannot remember a more comprehensive performance by a United States men's national team.
Any era.
Wow.
I'm saying more comprehensive performance against
top opposition.
Yeah.
winning like this against a team that is considered to be top opposition.
It is a friendly.
You were in
but
goal
it's a
for the
good-
1-0 against Romarios, but
Well, I know that, but we're
I'm-
talking like comprehensive.
I know, but I understand what you're saying.
we got shelled that day.
This,
but I'm just saying,
I think we have
you
to focus
beat up
on
Uruguay.
this era, and this era of player goes back to the Greg Berhalter. Greg Berhalter's marquee wins were Mexico, and his biggest game was a 0-0 tie against England.
Well, we haven't had a big marquee win in a long time, and we've talked about this. And I know it's a friendly, and I know Uruguay, there's a lot of questions being asked about Uruguay right now. But the U.S. throttled them.